absolutely extraordinary. Okay. So I just spent 40 minutes making a video about this topic and then realizing that it was just going to be too much to edit. Tim Pool's reporter, Shane Cashman, finally put out his first part of the Eliza Blue article. All right. Now, before we get started, please, you guys, please, I'm begging you, give me a long duration. Yeah, I'm gonna ask, for a long duration because you guys have been great. The algorithm has been good and everything, and I try to, get all the information as much as I can in 5 minutes. So y'all know that I reported on the Eliza Blue situation. What happened over the weekend was that Tim Pool blocked Jeremy from the quartering on every social media website just because he doesn't want to talk about the Eliza Blue situation. The problem is though that you have people who have super chatted you up to somewhere thousands of dollars asking you to talk about it. So what you should have did was say, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about somebody trying to censor free speech. That's where all this started. Let's be clear. That's where all this started. Eliza Blue can have whatever stories that she can tell. She can tell whatever stories she wants, but her stories, they don't add up. She calls herself a survivor. You can call yourself whatever you want, especially when you have borderline personality disorder. Why it's even more of a bigger deal is it makes these conservative pundits look straight up hypocritical. It does, because if this was Taylor Lorenz or whatever, y'all would be going in all day long. So how come, Tim, you're not addressing it? It's all right. You had it on your channel, not a big deal, whatever. But how come you're not addressing it? Address it. Be like, hey guys, we're trying to figure out everything that's going on. Don't super chat me anymore. Like, we're trying to figure it out. Say something like that because we have to be able to ask questions. Okay, we should be able to ask questions, and I vehemently am against the censoring of anybody. To be quite honest, y'all know how I am about that. And now we have to worry about people's feelings about public images. It's not right. But let's go ahead and get into this article. I guess that's a good place to start to ask about the clip of you on Michael Malice's podcast, where you seem to give this definition of trafficking as though it's just catfishing. No, she said, that case is very nuanced, and I should have never brought it up on his program because, in retrospect, that's beyond what the general public can comprehend as far as trafficking is concerned. But I can try my best to unpack it now. My former abuser, the one who apparently she would meet later in life, had access to my Instagram account. I did not always have access to it. He had a lot of accounts created in my name. He made dating profiles, anything you could possibly think of, because his goal was to make money wherever he thought he could make money. That was his hustle. That's where he was. So, like, literally in the beginning of that Malice interview, I give an actual definition of human trafficking, of what human trafficking is. She says she uses the UN definition, which includes illegal organ trafficking as well as human trafficking. And anyone under the age of 18 engaging in commercial sex is a trafficking victim. I go over all that in the beginning of that interview. I don't know why they're cherry picking that one part that I did a horrible job of explaining. But how could I explain that situation regardless? Even though Twitter investigated it, old Twitter investigated the account that the abuser created and decided to take it down. And because the imposter profile, I got my first meeting with the Twitter corporate. All right, she goes on talking about how she met Jack Dorsey. She met up with that Jack Dorsey, and she already kind of knew him. She was like, she went through the proper channels. What else would I have reported it as? There was no explicit human trafficking. It wasn't like I'm selling this girl. It was like, just connect to my Instagram, and I hadn't set it up, but I wanted to let them know that I have an abuser out there that sets this imposter account up. I did not set up that profile. Sometimes I still find dating profiles of me. I didn't set those dating profiles. So obviously there's something nefarious going on. So with Twitter, there was no way to report human trafficking. There still isn't. And she says you can only report child trafficking. So, all right. And then she's kind of making this point that, like, people sell people online that way too. I dig that. But then they also had the physical connection. And so she says, so he goes on and says there are many people rejoicing that you're losing followers. I mean, I'm not rejoicing at all. I'm not. But she said, I don't care. Like, I could lose 5 followers, whatever. I don't. And let me drive this last part home for anybody who doesn't, because I have people arguing with me about simple standards of life. That, especially that second part, I'll give you the first one. Okay, you could go ahead and whatever. The first one, fine. She was too young to be doing all that. I don't know why her parents let her move out to LA. And they told us she was going to go anyway. Okay, fine. That's how it worked at your house. It couldn't have never worked like that in my house. And my dad would have told me, whatever you meet out there is your business anyway. But not that that's great parenting either. I'm just saying, all right? But let me be also very clear again. You cannot say people used your image and made money off of it and call it trafficking. You have to be careful with the words you choose to use. Like, you called it trafficking. That's not being trafficked. It's not. And it's making a mockery out of the victims who actually were trafficked. Eliza Bleu is enjoying every bit of this. Don't get it twisted. She's not even mad that everybody's talking, because the borderline loves it. They do. The borderline loves it. Like, oh, well, I'm trending. Oh, well, to her losing followers, it doesn't mean anything to her right now. She doesn't care, because right now she's in the dopamine of constantly everybody saying her name. These right wingers, whatever you want to call them, Tim calls himself a centrist, but whatever, free thinkers, right? They just give you just this much. And that's why the message, the fight for liberty is being washed down. Her getting those people banned. Now on YouTube, people are getting demonetized for videos about her. It is not the free speech that you talk about. I don't block people on Twitter, even if they say something bad about me. I'd rather go back and forth with you about it, because I stand behind what I'm talking about. Don't tell me that you fight for free speech. Don't tell me about the left. Don't tell me about big tech censorship if you can't call this out too. So that's my gripe with the whole situation. You guys, thank you for watching. I hope that you made it this far. I'll see you at the next video. Bye.